All right, here we go.
Wait, they have to be really quiet. It picks up everything. Like, I think.
Alright. Hello, welcome to Scotscast. This will be our first episode. And today I'm here with my co-host Kevin and myself. My name is Julian. And our guest today is Rosali Delgado. Hello, Rosali.
Hi. Hi, Kevin.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
So I am a makeup artist. I have been a makeup artist for, how old are you?
16.
16, yep, 16 years. It's the only job I've ever done, always done makeup artistry. And I've worked for brands like Clinique, MAC Cosmetics, Smashbox. I currently work with Laura Mercier and Shiseido Cosmetics. And I do my own artistry as well.
So I've heard that you've had a pretty good following on social media. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So yeah, social media is a big part of artistry because the more people that know of you, the more potential brands who will pick you up, send you PR, which is public relations. They send free products for you to try their products, and that's a potential for a paid content for them. So yes, social media is a big one. What do you want to know about it?
How does that affect your marketing?
You just have to be consistent. I mean, you have to ask. I think one of the things that I've learned from social media is you have to know what you want, your objective for that post, whether you need them to like it, share it, or comment something, and ask for it. People don't know. You can't just put up a picture and be like, look, I'm pretty, or I did pretty makeup. It's like, hey guys, this is my look. Put a good description. Tag all the companies, all the brands that you want to get their attention. Use the correct amount of hashtags and ask for what you want. So, comment below your favorite part of this look and then get that engagement.
So, you had a very accomplished career, it looks like. So, how did it all begin?
So I was a young mom, and I needed a job that could flex to being a young mom and make enough money to support a child. And makeup artistry just kind of fell in my lap, and it became something that I love, just making people feel pretty and like look at themselves in the mirror and be able to like feel a little more confident. It was just kind of like one of those moments like, oh, and I just ran with it. And
Was being a makeup artist your first dream job?
no, I didn't have a dream. Oh, actually, I wanted to be like in politics. I wanted to do like public speaking, and I kind of do in a sense, but I thought maybe I'd be more like a social activist and work for like a nonprofit organization. And it's funny because they do kind of relate in a sense of that you are helping people with makeup and beauty.
You got any questions, Kevin?
So how did your Instagram following grow?
I just invested a lot of time into it. I think that's the hardest part is when you're starting to want to know what path you're going in and what you want. You kind of push yourself to do it, and it does take a lot of time and a lot of free time because you have to make time. So I don't sleep a lot. Julian knows that. I stay up late, answer emails and messages when my kids are asleep. And I invest a lot of time into it. So I respond to all the people. I ask people from other social medias, like whether it's Snapchat or Facebook or Twitter or wherever you are, and ask them to follow you where you need them to. So that way your following is all the way around, not just in one place.
How long did it take you to build your following on Instagram and Facebook?
I think once I really committed myself to it, it did take like a couple of years. Yeah.
So how did this lead you get more exposure throughout other brands like those big name brands you said earlier?
Honestly, just really using their products and tagging them, and using things that people know that I do use every day, and not just being like awkward, like, hey, buy this like cereal, I eat it every day. No, it's like really using a product and giving those honest reviews so that people who follow you feel that genuine trust in you, and then they do go shop with them. So if brands get a surge in one product being purchased, then you can be like, hey, let's use Morphe. They recently sent me a huge PR package. Hey Morphe, like I just sent a bunch of followers, they love me, and then they start to notice you. So really tagging them and not being afraid to ask for what you want, whether it's to be added to their PR or to be invited to one of their events or to create content for them.
When can you tell us a little bit about the events you just said?
Or going to events. So brands have events for influencers and makeup artists, and so what they do is whenever a new product is launching or whenever they're just wanting to, kind of introduce their brand, they'll invite you to events. Most of the time they're in Los Angeles or New York, so a lot of traveling is involved, and you'll get to meet other influencers and you'll get to meet the people behind the brand, and a lot of times that does include getting a lot of free product to play with. It's funny because I always tell Julian that when I was able to afford to buy the product is when I don't need to buy it anymore because now it's being sent to me, so it's kind of a weird like situation, but yeah. And it's kind of fun. It's like Christmas all the time at my house. For me, not for him. Right?
Yeah.
So if there's any advice you could give to the people, especially the audience, what would you give them?
I think that if anything, I mean, Salem is like a small city. We're definitely not in a big like city. Not to like limit yourself and to do whatever you want to do, whatever your age is. I mean, just really put your heart into it. The one thing that I cannot stress enough is just be yourself in whatever you want to do, whether that's something social media driven, and anything anymore is social media driven, and especially in the marketing world. We are seeing companies who used to pay for commercials pay for less commercials and pay an influencer to do content for them. And there's a lot of money in that, and there's a huge future. Social media is only getting bigger. I think that's one of the things that I thought of when I was thinking of my career. If a recession happens, or if anything happens economically, like women still buy, and men still buy beauty products. It makes you feel good. You still buy things that make you feel good because it's just the way it is. And you can make social media anything. I mean, if you're into clothes, if you're into cars, you can grow off social media. There are influencers who are into working out, and they're getting free trips. They're getting workout clothes, they're getting protein shakes. It's just there's companies out there for everything that are looking for people with a passion to promote them, and the money and the opportunity is like endless. So if that's the route that you want to go, just be very smart with your money, because you can make a lot of money today and none tomorrow, and you just kind of have to be okay with those waves and be prepared for them.
I noticed that you're wearing a lot of clothes that say Amiga on it. Can you explain why it says Amiga?
So Amigas are my followers. Well, Amigas and Amigos are my followers. I think that was one of the aha moments for me, is the people who support you. You kind of like hug them and embrace them and bring them into your culture, whatever that is. A lot of influencers name their followers, so you don't call them fans or followers. I wouldn't want to be called a follower. It makes me feel like I'm like copycat or a follower. So my fans or my followers or supporters, they're called amigas. And I actually travel the country and do a tour, a full-day tour, a makeup one-on-one class with anywhere from 25 to 100 people. I like to keep it in the 50 people range, and teach a makeup seminar. And I get to meet my amigas that are on my social media in person.
How would you get to interact with most of them, since some of them won't be able to attend?
So through messages, I don't sleep a lot. I stay up late and I try to respond to as many messages and comments as possible. I think that's a huge part. If somebody feels like you took the time out of your day to respond to a question or a comment or heart something that they sent you, it makes you a person and not just like a personality. And I take a lot of effort and a lot of time to respond to as many people as possible. I can't touch every person, but if I can, I will.
There's one over here.
Oh, we got a question in the audience.
Yes.
Can you explain how you felt the first time you were invited to the event?
Scared. I'm a loner. I like to be in my room alone with my camera on. I'm more comfortable talking to a camera than people. So knowing that I would have to dress up and be with other people really made me have a little bit of social anxiety, because social media is very isolating, because you can be in your room alone and take a picture, and those people don't really exist because you don't see them. And so knowing that I was going to be an event with hundreds of people and I was going to meet people that, you know, like the Jacqueline Hills or the Jeffree Stars or, you know, or bump into people that are famous was really intimidating. So, yeah.
Who was the most famous person you've met? Or you?
Done makeup on. So, I've done makeup on a lot of celebrities. I've done makeup on a couple of like singers when they would come into town and do concerts. But most recently, I did makeup with Montana Mojo. Do you guys know who she is? Yeah. She came to do a year ago. She came to Portland and did a tour, and I was her makeup artist for that tour. So yeah, I don't do as much face-to-face makeup. A lot of the students here have actually probably done their makeup for quinceañeras or weddings. I don't do that as much because it puts me in a kind of unsafe environment, not knowing whose house I'm going to go to now. So now when people call like, hey, can you come to my house and do my makeup? I don't feel as safe as I used to because I don't know whose house I'm showing up to. So I don't do that as much. But when I was doing more of the on-site makeup, she was my last celebrity that I did makeup on.
So what was your proudest moment in this
of my career?
So far, of course.
So far. Being able to support my kids and my husband and being able to stay home. Julian has a little brother who has autism, and he was my biggest, like, I need a job where I can be home all week and still support my family and help contribute to the finances and be there for him and help him with all his challenges. And so this just, it had to be. It was the only job that you can do from my living room at the time without feeling like I'm selling, you know, like products. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your childhood and how it was in high school?
Oh, wow. Well, I actually came to McKay High School. My childhood was very, I'm kind of the black sheep of my family. All my brothers and sisters, all of Julian's aunts and uncles, they're very like proper and I'm like the wild child. So I got in a lot of trouble. For saying everything that I wanted to say, right, Juliet? I always say what I'm thinking. I don't have a filter. So I got in a lot of trouble because Julian's grandpa he was a very strict Catholic Mexican man. And so I was always in trouble, and I was always in trouble in school as well for always saying things. But I think, you know, I finished school because of Julian. I wanted to be able to say, hey, I was a young mom, and I finished school, so you better do it. And then makeup, I actually was going, when I moved to Los Angeles, I was actually going to school to be a nurse, and that's when makeup fell in my lap, and I fell in love with the career. And I knew nursing was something that I was doing because I knew I'd make money, but not because it was a passion. So I made my parents angry, and I went to the makeup career. And they told me that I would never make money being a makeup artist, and I wanted to prove them that I could.
So when you were in California, did you face any struggles?
Every day. So Julian and I moved to Los Angeles when he was about a year old, and we just kind of got up and left, and every day was a struggle. But it was a struggle that, like, now I look back and I'm like, whoa, like, we got past that day, we can get past anything. And that's actually where I was at Target, and I was with Julian, and we were shopping, and I let somebody, Californians aren't as friendly as Oregonians sometimes. And I let somebody get ahead of me because I had a lot in my cart and she only had a couple of things in her hand. And I remember thinking, wow, she's really pretty. And the Target we were in was inside a shopping mall in Lakewood, California. And she looked at me and she's like, oh, do you do your own makeup? And I said, oh, yes, I just play with makeup because I've always loved makeup. And she said, would you ever want a job in makeup? And she gave me her business card, and I called her, and that's kind of how it started. So yeah, we struggled a lot, but it was worth it. Yeah.
So I know that your parents came from, or my grandparents and your parents came from, immigrated here.
Yes,
Can you
and
tell
so
us
did
a
I.
little bit? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So my dad and my mom. My dad actually immigrated here, I believe, when it was when President Reagan. Oh no, it was President Bush did an amnesty for farm workers, and my dad worked. Your grandpa worked in the reforestation, so he got an amnesty, and then he brought his wife over, which is her, and I was 2 years old. I turned 3 here, and your Aunt Nellie was 4 years old. She turned 5 here, and we immigrated here, and they worked in the fields. Your grandma's always worked in the cannery. I remember being really young and like seeing my dad he was always gone. He'd come home once a month. We'd see him for a couple of days, and then he'd go back out to the forests and do reforestation. And he actually had a really bad accident where where a chainsaw fell on his hand, and it almost cut. You didn't know that?
No,
It almost cut his hand off, and he actually decided to find a new job after that. And Grandma always worked in canneries, doing a lot of that work. So I remember thinking, like, when I have my kids, I'm going to be home to see them as much as possible, and I'm not going to be gone because they were gone. I raised my little brothers. Like, I fed them, I picked them up from school, I took them to school, so I wanted my kids to be around their parents. So, yeah, that's the impact. I was like, I want to work hard, but I want to work smart.
You had a really hard, like really tough life.
Wow. A different life.
So, how'd you get through those hardships?
I think that life overall is just how you see it. I wake up every day, and I never tell myself that I'm having a bad day. I'm a true believer in our brains are very powerful. So if you're having a bad day and you tell yourself, oh my gosh, today is a bad day, the day just gets worse and worse, right? So I wake up every day and I tell myself it's going to be a good day. And even if something bad happens, I try to like think of it as like a learning opportunity and not a struggle. And I learn something from it, and then it never happens again. So yeah, it's just all about how we see it. And like, you know, sometimes, especially when we're young, we feel like today's like the worst day ever, and you can never get past today. And then tomorrow happens, and then you're like, whoa, I got past it. And that's just always how I see life. Like, today will end, tomorrow's a fresh start, and we'll do it again.
Okay. If you could go back in time and tell yourself one thing when you were like 5 years old, 10 years old, what would it be?
I don't think I would tell myself anything. I really enjoyed all my struggles. I feel like if I changed anything, it would not make me who I am today. So I think I would leave things the way they are.
You keep it a surprise for yourself?
Yeah. I don't want to go in the future. I don't want to know the future, and I don't want to go fix the past. I feel like everything that we go through just makes you who you are, and it makes you more of who you are. So you just have to continue to grow through your struggles, because life is a struggle, and it's just how you get past those struggles.
So do you have any future plans for your career?
Yeah, I just want to continue to grow. Be consistent and continue to travel. Julian and his little brother and his dad have gotten the opportunity to travel with us a couple of times, and he got to experience it. And I just want my kids to know that if they work hard, they can make anything happen. Like, people can tell you no, 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 and if you just keep going for it, eventually you'll get a yes.
If you could tell someone who is interested in your career, what would you tell them?
What advice would I give them?
Yeah, what advice would you give?
I would say don't compare your career to other people, because somebody will always be higher than you or more successful than you. So focus on what your goals are and set clear goals. And once you make that goal, set a new goal. Never be happy with just being stagnant. Continue to set goals and continue to work towards them.
So I understand that you've been through a lot, and you're still going through some like hardships, but
Life is hardships.
yes. So what are you trying to say when you're like 60, 70, when you're retired? What are you trying to say when you're old and be accomplished? What are you trying to accomplish?
Well, if I make it to that old, I don't know. I want to just have like a record of all the fun things that I did, and I want to be able to look back and have those cool memories. And I want my kids to be able to look back and have memories, and tell their kids like, hey, like my mom was pretty cool. Like, you know, she took me here and she took me there, and you know, she made sure that we had fun all the time, because my house is very, very fun. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It needs a reality show. Yeah.
So have you ever tried doing another business other than makeup?
So recently I started getting into candy. I love cooking. Julia knows this. We redid our kitchen, and I love making stuff. And I love Latin culture. I think that's one thing that I've been very, very proud of is my Latin culture, my Mexican culture. And I wanted to find a way to infuse I grew up in the United States, those like candies that we always eat, and then bring in the Latin like twist to it, and make something that my kids could work for. Like, you know, during the summer I could have them doing shipping, because shipping is a pain. But something that they can have as, obviously he doesn't probably want to do makeup. I don't have any daughters to take on my makeup, life. So I wanted to do something business-wise that my boys can do and kind of feel what it's like, the responsibility of being an owner of something. And so right now I'm currently working with getting my business licensing and getting a certified kitchen and doing all the things that you need to do legally and tax-wise to be able to start my own candy brand. Yeah.
So you said that everything you do is based off Latin culture.
Yeah.
Could you explain more about how the Latin culture has affected what you've done?
Well, a huge percentage of my followers are Latino women and men, and I think for a long time, growing up in a time where there weren't very many cultures, especially in Salem Kaiser, I feel like our family, when we moved to Kaiser, we moved to Kaiser when we first got here. We were one of 4 Mexican families in Kaiser, and feeling like you almost didn't, fit in, or you didn't look like your friends next to you, or you weren't part of that community really, really affected me. So I want people to know that, like, hey, you fit here. Whether you're Latina, whether you're, nationality is anything else, like, you fit somewhere and you fit here. So all my friends, all my amigas and amigos, whether you're Latina or not, you're an amiga. And it's so cool because sometimes when I'm doing my seminars, I have 60-year-old Caucasian women come up to me and they're like, amiga, and it's so cool to have another person embrace your culture because they love you. So I think that's really cool, and just being really proud of that. Yep.
So where can we find you on social media?
So I do a lot of snapping because all the kids are cool, but I feel like now I have to get into TikTok because that's a thing. I'm like, I'm never gonna learn this TikTok stuff. So Instagram, I'm mua.rosali, or you could just type in Rosali Delgado, honestly, on Google, and all my socials will pop up. I Googled myself once, and that was really weird. Like, seeing myself pop up as a Google search is really weird. So you can also find me on Facebook under rosalidelgado.mua. I am starting a YouTube. I really love the live aspect of Facebook because you could be watching me and asking me a question, and live in that moment I could answer it for you, where it makes just a little bit more personal. But the way social media is growing, you kind of have to have your hands in every aspect of social media. Anymore, when companies reach out, they want to know all your handles, to like Twitter, to Instagram. So yeah, Facebook and Instagram right now, and Snapchat, all under Rosali Delgado.
So I understand that with social media, there's some setbacks, like haters and stuff. What do you say about the haters?
Well, there are haters. I just honestly look at my numbers. So let's say I went live today before I came here, and I got 50,000 views live, which will overnight grow to anywhere from 50,000 to 100,000, and I get 20 hate comments or 20 hate messages. I feel like my numbers are pretty good. Like, I'm getting more love than I am hate. So I just have to focus on the amount of support I'm getting and not focus and dwell on the negativity. Yeah.
How would you respond to the negativity if it was the majority?
Well, I respond to negativity like I did when I was a kid. I make fun of myself as well. Like, you can't affect me if I'm joking with you too. Like, oh my God, you're so ugly. Oh my God, I am. Wait a minute, I'll be pretty in a minute. Like, you just have to not give them the tool to hurt you, because if somebody doesn't like themselves, they want to see you not like yourself. So if you joke with them, and so many times I've had people who join my live videos or comment on one of my posts to hurt me, that end up loving me and end up staying and becoming an amiga, and that's so cool. And I don't hold grudges, so I'm like, it's okay. I get it, Sometimes we have bad days, and I can't judge you on your bad days, so, yeah, but I'm not going to let you give me a bad day. So. And sometimes I have fun with it.
So we're running out of time right now, and I just want to say, is there anything else you'd like to add that is very important that you think should be addressed?
No, I think we covered everything. Yeah. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Is it weird having your mom to interview?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably weirder for Kevin.
Kevin's like, yeah.
You look so scared. You okay?
He thinks I'm gonna. It's because he thought I was gonna put makeup on him. I didn't bring my kit this time, Kevin.
Next time,
We
Kevin.
recorded a little bit at this.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not.
Julian could totally get into that, but he said no. I offered, right, Julian?
Someone said he already looks too much like James Charles.
Yeah.
not interested.
He does have a good structural face structure, huh, Julian?
I don't know.
But my husband won't let me put makeup on him. I try everyone in my house, and nobody wants makeup on. I'm like, come on, somebody.
You can ask the dogs.
They might. They're my girls, right?